Good soup, day 2. The purpose of this video is to go over pozole rojo. For good soup day 2, I'm making something that I used to make for family meal all the time at work. It's a great family meal because you can make a giant pot of this stuff. It's a great hangover food, great breakfast food. Typically, this is eaten on Sunday mornings where I'm from. So in this one, I'm utilizing pork spare ribs, some pig feet, and the most important is guajillo chile. Let's go ahead and jump right into this good soup day 2. I'm gonna be utilizing pig's feet. Pretty standard. It adds a lot of that real pork flavor and nice fattiness. Then I have these really nice pork spare ribs that I'm going to just roast off to get some nice color before tossing them into the soup pot. Typically, I would use pork butt for this recipe or pork shoulder. I've never used pork spare rib, but I wanted to do it because I like spare ribs. These look really nice. They have all the bones on them too, so that's gonna add some flavor and depth to our stock. Probably just trim it right here. Gonna give them a little trimmy trim between the bones so they're a good bite-sized portion. And as I said, typically it's pork butt, pork shoulder, not usually pork ribs, but I think this is gonna be delicious. So I'm gonna do pork ribs instead of the pork butt. You can also do maybe another type of meat. Chicken pozole is very common, especially down south. Chicken pozole is the one that I had when I was younger. You can also maybe do lamb, like the pozole verde I just did with lamb shank. And if you don't have lamb shank, or maybe you're vegetarian, might as well do a vegetarian pozole and just utilize a lot of heavy veg. And then I'm gonna be adding in a pig's foot to this recipe. Now I'm going to spread these out evenly on a couple of sheet trays like this. I'm gonna toss them in the oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit so I can get some good color on this, because the more color, the more flavor is gonna be in my stock. All right, tossing these in the oven. All right, just tossing these into an oven on high. This is just to get a little bit of color on this first, that's all. Now while that's roasting off, I'm gonna start making the base of the soup. This is the most important part. We're gonna be utilizing chile guajillo. I have these from Spice Tribe, which you can find linked below. This is what you're looking for right here. This is a dried chile, and what we need to do is called reconstitute the chile. So what I need to do first is remove the seeds. I'm just gonna take the stem off like this, and then I'm just gonna remove the seeds. I would suggest using gloves. I'm a fucking idiot right now. I should be using gloves right now, but I forgot because I'm being a dum-dum. But use gloves. These are really hot, so if you touch your eyes or something, it's gonna hurt. But it's okay. I only need about a couple cups of chile guajillos. You can find these in the Mexican aisle of your grocery store. They're typically right next to where they have all of the tamale corn husks and stuff. And you just want to keep them in your cabinet so they stay nice and dry. So typically what you could do is toast them off in a pan, or you can just go ahead and take some boiling hot water and toss that on top of that. And then we're gonna let this steep just like we would let our tea steep with some water. Covered for about 5 minutes or so, or just for them to get softened up. Gonna set this aside and get my other sauce ingredients going. Garlic, cumin, oregano buds, tomato paste, rice vinegar, rice oil, chile guajillo, kosher salt. And this is gonna be our base for the soup. This is everything. This is what makes the pozole. So the chiles are super important for this. Make sure to get chile guajillo or it's not gonna work. It's gonna fuck. Just one yellow onion should do the trick. This is something I see a lot of people do, by the way. They have this little nub left over after cutting the onion, and they'll usually like toss it. But what you can do is just repeat the same process. Just your swipey swipes on the sideways, and then the verticals, and then chop. And then you have more nubbage, just repeat the same process. And now I'm left with this like half a nipple onion end situation. All right, now check this out. These are my cooked off pork ribs. I'm just gonna drain off all the fat. I'm going to utilize the fat from this pork to cook off my onions. So it's gonna be all pork fat in my soup. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're going. Now we're cooking, bro. Look at that. So we're just gonna saute these onions off. Then I'm gonna add in the sauce and I'm gonna cook that off on medium heat just for about a minute or two. Then I'm tossing in the pork ribs. Next up, I'm taking the blender and I'm tossing in chicken stock to that same blender just so I can get all of that sauce out, all the yum yum flavor, and then toss in that flavor into my pot. And then canned hominy. You can do nixtamalized corn, but this is just the standard, easier method. Just take a can of hominy, rinse it off in water, and then strain. Toss that into the pot. Now, at this point, I would tell you to just leave it on the heat for about 3 to 4 hours. But I put this in a pressure cooker today, so it's gonna take me around 30 to 45 minutes. Maybe let's do 35. Now for the sides, I'm going to chop some cabbage, some radishes, cilantro, toss that all together to make a fresh slaw with some lime juice, salt, pepper, and that is gonna be a good garnish for the soup. It's gonna give it a nice crunchy texture as well. Remember when working in restaurants, I learned right away with mandolins just to let those little nubs go. Like once you get to a little nub like this, just let it go. Use that for stock or something because you don't want to cut yourself. Cabbage.
You ever slice yourself on one of those?
Oh yeah, dude. I have radish. Saving these bottoms for later, you'll see why. Cilantro, onion, coriander, crema. Toasting off some cumin. And then to that, sour cream, cilantro stems, and then some cream. Finish that with salt and then blend. Coriander crema. I'm just releasing the pressure. If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically an electric pressure cooker. This is great if you don't want to take forever to cook your pozole. If you have one of these, go ahead and use it. If not, it's gonna take around 3 to 4 hours. I'm just releasing the steam right now. Oh, that smells so good. That is tender, yeah. Just check the tenderness of your pork before proceeding. Mine is tender as fuck, so I'm good to go. This is the color you want with your pozole. It should be deep dark red. If it's not that color, maybe add a little bit more tomato paste, but definitely chile guajillo is where you're gonna get this color from. I'm gonna toss in some chopped cilantro. And I'm just gonna season this to taste with salt and MSG. Put some of our garnish, like our cabbage, radish, cilantro. And then the crema goes all around that. All right, everybody. You guys like the eating scene, so I'm gonna try it and let you guys know what I think. I've never made it with pork spare ribs, so there's gonna be a lot of bones in this, but that's okay, because it looks bomb. Yum. Take a fresh corn tortilla, little dippy dip. Nothing wrong with that. This is the best hangover food too, by the way. Such a fucking good hangover food. Ah, it's delicious. Let me know what soup you want in the comments down below.